Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host, Chantele Francis. Up top, we have Michelle with 2 L's. How are you doing today, Michelle? Quick overall thoughts of this episode.
Oh man, I'm honestly, I'm just like disappointed.
Right.
Not necessarily with the outcome, but like honestly, it was one of the most entertaining episodes of the season. There were so many cringy moments that I hated but couldn't look away from.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't decide if it's good or bad, but like some iconic moments, but also like some of the stupidest strategies I've seen in a while. So like, I don't know. I'm disappointed, but I'm into it still.
Of course. And we have the number 1 Kim and Colleen stan in the house. Matthew, how are you feeling?
Well, I know Michelle with 2 L's definitely would have made a bigger move tonight. Michelle with 1 L gave herself a 2 out of 10. I think that was a generous 2.
Generous.
Yes.
So what would you have given her?
I'd say a 1.
1?
If you have to give something, let's go with a 1.
Mm-hmm.
0, if we can't do zeros, rough move, I think.
Do you know what though? I'm gonna give her the 2 out of 10 because they won. They at least won the daily, so they get a bump up a number. You're like, nah.
Oh yeah. I mean, in terms of winning, like the episode itself, sure, a 2. Just the move after winning power, I give a 1.
Yeah. Like there isn't really a worse move they could have done. To be honest.
It was honestly
the worst move they could have done.
There's worse moves, but like, this was pretty bad.
The only worst move would have been putting in Olivia and Horacio instead of one of the vet teams.
Right, exactly.
So I guess there was one worse move they could have made.
Mm-hmm.
But
definitely.
Pretty close to the worst possible.
Pretty close.
Outcome.
Pretty close.
Well, Mary is in the house. Hello, Mary. Hello, Sophie. Okay, so do you agree with Sophie here? Laurel tonight is giving me cutthroat Laurel vibes. Do we agree?
I loved Laurel tonight. She was the highlight of the night for me, for sure.
She was so Laurel. Like
she was the most Laurel she's ever been. And while I know that, like, based on the preview, I'm gonna be mad at her soon. This was like an iconic episode for her. It's not even a question that she's the MVP. She literally she just is so intense and her commitment level is so high. She's what I love about the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
She's like one of the OGs, even though she's not like an OG. She has that energy and that fire. And I just am obsessed with her energy this whole episode.
Oh my gosh. We're going to talk obviously
so
in detail about a couple of key moments of Laurel.
I honestly, I don't know really anything that's like yet to happen. I don't know anything from the previews. I either didn't see it or I'm just like, I forced myself to forget it.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually went into this elimination not knowing like Laurel was going to be safe and there was more to her story, which I'm kind of glad. But I mean, if she's going to do something controversial soon, I guess that's exciting as well. But I thought Laurel and Jack were going to go home at multiple points throughout the episode. But I guess there's more to come for her.
Definitely more to come. Hi, Willie. Willie loves Laurel. This is a Laurel pod stan for sure. Stan pod. Absolutely. Laurel is she was so good this episode for entertainment. Like this is for this, if it's just this one episode alone, her coming back was
an Emmy.
Worth it.
She deserves an Emmy.
This is the Emmy
for this episode. This is it.
Absolutely.
Most cringe. Own it.
Oh yeah, Tokyo's like, do you have a question?
Oh my God. Do you have a question? I'm talking to you now. I'm having a conversation. Like, I just was like, the tone. It was so good.
Michelle was so scared.
Oh, yeah.
She
the
was
thing I love.
Horrified. Oh, my God. Like, Survivor's never seen a Laurel. Like, do you know what I mean? Like not in this way. Like, I was just like, wow. Yeah.
What are you gonna say, Matthew?
The best thing about Laurel is like she's not like a lot of these other players where they have to kind of manufacture entertainment. she is just being herself and literally not doing anything. And everyone is enjoying it because like that fear level where it's like you get like people like Wes and Bananas who are like staples on the show, and they go out of their way to make entertainment, which is respectable in its own right. But the fact that Laurel can just show up, like scare the shit out of people and be just as entertaining, it's pretty amazing.
And still getting like hookup points, like, you know,
Hookup
like
points, fight points, like a
Yeah.
limbs, like even with the partner that hasn't gotten her a daily win yet, you know, still killing it.
Hi, Jessica. So Jessica says Michelle with what L is the definition of paranoid. And I didn't really see this of Michelle before. Like, obviously, we know that we're always like, she's playing the game and she's trying to figure out where she is and strategizing. So that's what I expected of her. I didn't really realize that she was doing it more so out of paranoia. I just was kind of giving her the benefit of the doubt that it was more strategic than paranoia pushing her strategy. But like this episode, like she got so paranoid that she didn't even allow herself to think straight with how to get the ultimate result that she wanted. If she wanted Laurel out of the game because she's scared of her, she did not put in any of the people that would make that happen for her. Like, if she was going to want to make that big move, be like, hey, sorry, Banana, Nani, you guys have to go in. You got to like at least help me get out Laurel if that's the case. You know what I mean? Like, if
you're gonna go for a target and do a big move, then go for it in that way. It would have been different if they had made a deal with Banani before, but they didn't, and they just made that assumption that was going to help them and give them points later, which was such a bad move because now Banani doesn't actually owe you anything. Like, you did this as a favor, being like, now you got to owe me one, and sure, they can say that. But when it comes down to it, they don't actually have to do anything because you didn't make a deal beforehand. So there's no like official handshake deal on it. So that was such a bad move. And it would have been such an easy scapegoat for them to be like, well, you put me in, but like, let's make a deal and I won't throw you in. Right. And like that would have just saved them another group. They didn't have to put in Laurel and Jack unless you really wanted to go for them. And I agree. If she's going to go for them, then really go for it.
Go for it. You need to at least get their main objective out of there.
And you're putting in one of the rookie teams. You're saying you never talk game with them, but haven't you been with this whole rookie group? And like, why aren't you talking game with them? Why haven't you tried? Like, I was also confused about that because I know Kim and Colleen aren't really gamers, but it's like you should be having those conversations. Why have you not been?
Especially since they've been doing decently well and they've been coming back in. They've been doing decent in dailies. Hi, MV. So MV says, can't wait to watch tomorrow. I look forward to see Michelle hating on Fessy again. Yay.
Oh, man.
Me too. I look forward to this moment.
Yeah, he's the most predictable person I've ever witnessed. Like,
I think in terms of like the Bananas and Nani stuff, they're like, you got to just look at it in the sense that if you're Jay and Michelle, you just look at it as, okay, we have to put in 4 teams. Even if we save Bananas and Nani here, we're going to take out whatever team goes out. Bananas and Nani, if they were to win next week, they're also going to have to put in 4 teams. They're not putting in Casey. By association, they're probably not going to put in Fessy. That's already 2 teams out there. You know they're not putting in Devin and Tori. There's 3 teams. So now you're starting to look at the vets. Are you really confident that they're not going to put you in over Jordan and Anissa? They've already put you in once. There's no doubt in my mind. And not
making a pre-deal.
Yeah, no doubt in my mind. If Bananas and Nani win next week, Jay and Michelle will probably not only be in the draw, but I think they'll be the one team that's picked directly to go in.
It's so ridiculous for them to do this without making a deal first.
I don't
know.
The
one thing about Nani is like, she's like, I stick to my, like whatever, right? There are people who like, they stick to their deals and stuff to a certain degree, even though she has gone back on some things, but like, you didn't even try to make a deal. You didn't, like, it makes no sense at all in any way. And it just proves to me what I've always thought about both Jay and Michelle, which is that they are players that I love to watch when they are not in power.
Right.
And they are not good with power. Michelle did so well in both their seasons of Survivor because she was always at the bottom of the pack.
And she just had to fight.
And had to fight her way through. And she was good at picking up the scraps and going with it, but she was never in the dominant position.
Absolutely.
Like hardly, like literally ever.
And you know
that's why
what?
she was good. That worked for her. She's not good in this position.
I was always I've never really been one that supported her win. I mean, a win is a win. It's amazing no matter what. Like you're exceptional for being able to win Survivor. So I'm not taking away the fact that she did what 17 other people, whatever, couldn't do. But I never valued her as like a strategic player and one of the greats or anything like that. I was just kind of like, yeah, that's a bottom tier win in my opinion. And she felt that she always had to kind of prove that she deserved the win. But now seeing what happened with this episode, I'm like, I don't know. I think that it took any proof of her being like a good strategic player kind of out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really good point about both of them. Honestly, like looking back at Jay's Survivor season, which like doesn't really get talked about much anymore, but he was like a rootable underdog there as well. And then when there was a point like earlier in the game where he was in like the Cool Kids Alliance with like Figgy and Taylor, and he wasn't as likable then. And then once that got broken up, everyone started to love Jay when he was that underdog, like scrapping his way through the game. And then same as his first season on the challenge. And then the 2 times he's been in power, it's just got into his head with Teresa, where they tried to throw Cam and Ashley in together, and that backfired. And he ended up going home the next week. Now this move here, they're in power. And I fear that they're probably the odds on favorite to go home next week again here.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they align with the right people to guide them when they have power or when they don't have power. Like they just don't seem to align with the right people and make the right moves beforehand. I guess they're very reactionary, or maybe they're always used to playing from the bottom. But I remember I was so pissed off at Jay when he blindsided Michaela. And I was just like, it took me a long time to get over that.
Yeah.
It was when he became an underdog when he came to the challenge. And I'm like, okay, I like him now. I forgive him for what he did to Michaela. But I was mad at that move.
Oh, I was so mad. I forgot about that actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the worst. But that's the kind of player that he is when he's in a position of
shitty,
power.
snaky rat, shitty move.
And then he doesn't own it in the right way. Well, look, I get that he's saying it's a game, and like on his live that we were just kind of watching a little bit of, like, it's a game. It is what it is. Like, but you have to acknowledge that it was not a good move. It was probably one of the second worst move you could have made.
The thing is, like, yes, it is a game, but the challenge is different than other games because it becomes your life. And like Jay, I was listening to Jay and Michelle on Mark Long's podcast last week, and they were both saying like they'll come back as long as MTV will have them. If that's the case, you got to look at it as a little bit more than a game. And I think Jay now is saying it's a game, but I mean, in the moment, it seems like they were acting reactionary based on Michelle's feelings to Laurel. So, I mean, he's kind of contradicting himself, and it is a game, but you want to win the game. Like, you want to make a name for yourself. Like, you don't want to be like Bananas and Nani's bitch. That's not the point of the game. Like, don't be scared of them. They're coming after you. You can make a move.
They need someone to help them. They need to be aligned with the right people, and they just never are. They just aren't.
Never.
Yeah, I think like their closest allies here are Amber, Chauncey, Nelson, Nerys,
who are doing nothing. Like Amber and Chauncey are literally just in their own world.
Well, like she got.
Are they on the season
from Darrell? Right. Like Darrell has taught her how to play the game. It was basically lay low and win in the end. Like that's kind of Darrell's strategy, and so that's kind of what she's doing. And when she tries to play strategically and get in with the Big Brother thing, she kind of gets burned. So I think she's doing the right thing for her game to get far.
1,000%. I can't believe she hasn't been a nominee yet. It's insane, and it's really amazing for her. It really shows a lot of progress.
I loved Veronica and Anissa both calling out Michelle and Jay, just saying like, no offense, but like, why are you not putting in Nani and Bananas? It makes no sense. Like, you're looking to break up an alliance, but you're going for people that you don't even know are in the alliance. Like, what are you doing putting in Darrell and Veronica? They just entered the game. They clearly have nobody.
And they're not strong.
And like you're saying you want to break up the alliance, so go after the people in the alliance,
Don't kill me.
not the people that might potentially join as the last member of the alliance. Like, come on, it's
Or not
so
the people
ridiculous.
that you could maybe gather and have on your side.
Yeah, it's like they waited until they already made the nominees to try to get any information from anyone. Like very, very rough. And yeah, I think, Michelle, it goes to what you were saying. It's like maybe like some people are just better when they're playing from the bottom. And I think like Jay and Michelle definitely fall under that category. And it's hard to like learn how to play from on top. And who knows, like you never know like if they'll ever get that opportunity, really. So you gotta kind of make the most of it.
So Willie's telling us that Amber did get 2 confessionals this episode, so that's a bit of an improvement. I don't think she got one last week, or it was like the week. She hasn't had many. She definitely has not had.
I don't even remember hers to this episode.
I don't either. It's terrible. So Willie's saying nominating Bananas and Nani would have been a better move. Of course it would have been. If you're gonna make problems, don't just make a mess. Well, let's talk about this episode. So we start off coming back to the house. Colleen thinks that everybody is proud of them as rookies, but they still need to win because they feel like they're going to be going back in every single time unless they win the daily. And that's pretty true. Unless Jay and Michelle win and keep them safe because they're working together. Like they do need to win to kind of stay out of there because nobody's really that scared of them. And even if they do win power, they're just like, okay, fine. Like we miscalculated the fact that Colleen and Kim were going to win any power, but I don't think that anybody's scared of throwing them in. So yeah, chances are they're going to be going back. So Michelle, though, really thinks that people are taking the easy route. Like this confessional did not age well at all. So taking the easy route, nominating rookies. Like, Michelle, you said this out loud.
Yeah.
I wonder when she said this, recorded this.
It's like you did this. You need to put it in a position where there's no rookie team then.
Absolutely.
Like, if you're going to make this choice, they just like halfway made like 3 different choices.
Yeah. I liked them. I honestly liked them like going after like Anissa and Jordan.
Yeah.
I thought that was like the only like good choice.
Yeah. And in that, I kind of was annoyed with Anissa because I'm like, you've voted against Jay and Michelle.
Yeah. But she's got a strong arm her power. Like that's
she's not, what she's saying was not true though. Like I was like, these people don't owe you anything. You voted them in.
Yeah.
But it seems as though that they are like friends outside of the game. So maybe she just thought that the friendship would have taken them a little bit further. But she's doing what she can. She's politicking, like whatever. Yeah. I mean, I'm fine with anybody saying whatever they need to say to try to save face and keep themselves in the game, you know? So Michelle's talking to Amber and talking about how they needed to win. That's when she's talking about the rookies. And that's when Amber had the confessional saying that she's amused by Michelle's paranoia. And so am I. But Amber was just like, oh, she's really paranoid. It's amusing. Like,
yeah. It's funny. What wasn't Amber's like whole reputation like being very paranoid as well in the previous 2 seasons she was on? I feel like that's what people would say about Amber. So now like Amber saying it about Michelle, it's kind of a fun twist.
Absolutely. She probably recognizes the paranoia and like, it's not me this time. It's fun to watch. So we had a pool party. I loved seeing this. It kind of reminded me of old school, the challenge where they just seem to have fun in between dailies and eliminations. We see Nelson and Olivia canoodling and Fessy and Colleen kind of being close and a little bit of Bananas and Mariah. And Bananas is apparently not Mariah's type, but he's really has a really good personality. What do you think about that duo?
I mean, I'm glad they finally showed them a little bit together because everyone's like, oh my God, I can't believe Bananas hasn't hooked up. He was already hooking up with her. They just didn't show it because I guess he has the producer as friends. So he probably is able to.
Is he doing that so that Fessy won't like turn on him?
I mean, maybe. You know what? It's possible.
I just can't stand that relationship because Mariah is so dull in confessionals. Like even when she's talking about Bananas, it's like she's so very monotone, and like she's talking about like this blossoming relationship, and it just seems so boring.
Yep.
Like, she makes Fessy sound like extremely energetic and fun in confessionals. And it's like that just makes for such a boring pair.
They're such a boring pair.
And then her and Banana is like their energies just don't match at all. But I mean, yeah, good for them, I guess. But I'm not standing it. I prefer Fessy and Colleen.
I do. It's because you like Colleen.
Yeah,
Colleen's entertaining and cute.
Yeah.
Horacio, though, we were I think we were speculating here about like whether or not Horacio actually likes Laurel, or he was scared of her, or like, you know, some people are saying like, you know, Laurel is all over him, but he's not reciprocating. He said now in a confessional that he really likes talking to Laurel. So, but I'm wondering you didn't watch the preview for next episode. Okay, never mind.
I did see the preview for next episode tonight. Yeah, I just haven't seen like the season-long preview.
Oh, okay, fine. So it does seem like maybe does Laurel go to like think more is going on? Like, what do you think is going to be happening between Horacio and Laurel?
It was hard for me to tell. I wasn't sure if it was reading like he said something about how he thinks that maybe he was giving mixed signals to Laurel, or he didn't want to be giving mixed signals to Laurel. And then...
because like, since you see her in Fessy's bed and then he's pissed.
Yeah, and then he seems pissed. So maybe he made it seem to her that he wasn't interested. Or so like then she goes with Fessy, and then he's like, I obviously wasn't clear that I do like her. That's what I was getting from it. Oh, I don't know. I'm confused.
Yeah, that's what seems that's probably going to happen. He probably rejected Laurel in some sort of way. Like maybe she went in for a kiss or something like that. And he's like, no, I don't want to like cross that line right now. And she's probably irritated, pissed. Colleen's gone. So that spot in that bed is opened up. And so, yeah, we do see a little more canoodling happening with Fessy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Horacio gives major, I can't, my mom's watching vibes. I really get that from him, where like he is gonna like exactly like what you said, like he's gonna say no we can't, like gotta focus on the game, my family's gonna be watching this, can't do any hooking up here. And then Laurel will just be like, okay, you know, he's not into me, like let's go to Fessy.
But like I think she'll be pissed about it though. It would be I hate a rebound, you know, like I think that Fessy is definitely giving Corey player status. He's getting up there for sure. You know that we can count on him for a hookup. So that's the Libra in him. So Darrell doesn't trust anyone, and he's talking to Veronica. And she's already like, we need to decide like who would be throw in, like what are we going to do? And I love that Veronica is with Darrell, because it helps Darrell be thinking about himself in this game, thinking about like what you need to do to position yourself, and so that you won't make a rash decision last minute and it be the wrong one. So I think that this partnership is really good politically for Darrell.
I agree.
They could get to the end.
No, I just worry like they'll be in a situation where they just get thrown in very frequently as well, and eventually, and you get thrown in enough, like you're gonna see an elimination or two. And I mean, they can like tonight's elimination, maybe they could have won, but once it gets kind of more like physical or endurance based, they're gonna struggle there. So I do worry like we'll see them in the draw a handful of times, and eventually they'll go.
I agree with you for the most part, but I'm hoping they get a couple weeks off just from like maybe this will prompt conversation with Anissa, build a little bit more of rapport there, depending on who wins next week. Maybe get themselves through a little bit. But yeah, you're right. They're going to be thrown in more than other people.
Yeah, I also didn't like what Anissa said at the end of the episode, where she's like, yeah, this is Veronica's game. Like she makes moves without really like thinking it through. It was kind of raised a red flag for me. Like, oh, is Anissa like not sold on Veronica now? And I think Veronica maybe didn't choose her words the best when she was saving Anissa. I think like he could have just saved her and not.
I think that she's making TV moments.
I agree. Veronica's great for TV, but I don't know if like Anissa and Tori will see it that way, where it's like they're gonna question her loyalty.
Well, they're just gonna have a conversation. Like, we're gonna see them talking down, being like, "Listen, I want you in this game. Like, I want you here. I'm not
Exactly.
throwing you in." Blah blah blah. They're gonna have that conversation. So,
Because you even heard Anissa say to her, like, afterwards, she was just like, if I had known, I would have said something or whatever.
exactly. It didn't seem
I'm
like she
I
was that
thought it
bothered.
I thought it was unspoken. Blah blah blah.
In these games, though, it can't be. I guess. I mean, I'd be pissed if I was Anissa, but I'd kind of get it.
Yeah.
And so, okay, Jack and Jay, with a duo that we never knew about, they write a song together. They're going to throw an emo night party where they're going to unveil and have a little concert for their song. Bananas is playing the guitar. Everyone's doing emo makeup. Veronica and Anissa are doing makeup, and so I thought that they did the storytelling of this episode pretty well.
Yeah.
It wasn't blatantly obvious what was going to be happening, but it did introduce all kind of the dynamics of the people that were going to be involved in the major plot points of this episode. So I thought it was quite well edited, personally.
Yeah, and the fact that they gave us like multiple of those like party and house scenes.
Yeah.
I mean, usually, like a lot of times we don't get any of those. I think we got 3 tonight, where it's like those are very telling to see like who is talking to who, like who seems like chummy, who's flirting. So I think the fact that they're going back to that, I hope that sticks throughout the season, because it's been sorely missing the last couple seasons. So I think I was really happy with that, and that was kind of one of the highlights of the episode for me as well.
Definitely. And so when we see them all I guess they had a bonfire and they're all dressed in their emo makeup, they sing the song, and I thought the song was actually decent. Like, I mean, I wouldn't buy the album, but like if somebody just made up a song, I'd be like, that's not bad. That's all right. Not too bad. But this is showing their brotherhood. Jack thinks that, Jay is his brother, and Jay loves Jack so much. I did write at that point, oh boy.
Yeah, it was pretty clear to me there was going to be a betrayal happening here.
Yeah. I started to get nervous with the amount of references to, how great friends we are and the brotherhood that we never knew about. So Michelle is talking to Amber, and I don't know if you guys caught this, but Michelle says takes president, and I'm like, not the right word, Michelle, but close. Instead of precedent.
No, I didn't catch
it. It was just funny to me because I was like, let's take president, Michelle. But she's really just so paranoid about Laurel, and I understand, like, Laurel doesn't really talk to you unless you talk to her, or you're not her friend or whatnot, and she can come across as intimidating, and she's older than Michelle is. She's also a legend in the challenge, and so I can understand people being intimidated and scared by her. It's kind of like a grade 9 and like talking about someone in like the older, I was gonna say OAC, but that doesn't exist anymore, in grade 12. I guess we have American friends, like freshmen talking to seniors. And so I get it. But like, you're in a house with somebody. Can't you just make friends, Michelle? Like, I don't understand why she couldn't just make friends with Laurel.
And that's supposed to be the whole strength of her game. Just being able to make friends with people. Laurel's intimidating, but she's not like a mean person. She's like a pretty reasonable, understanding person from what we know of, and I imagine Michelle has seen Laurel on the show before. I mean, she's a pretty straight shooter. You don't really have to go behind her back and be super fearful of her. Just make friends with her. I mean, you made friends with Scott and Jason. They're much more intimidating than Laurel is.
Like, as soon as she felt weirdness in her mind, she should have talked to her one night anytime any of them are drinking and they're partying, and go up to her, compliment her, start talking to her, like, by the way, like, I know neither of our teams have won yet, but like, I've been kind of thinking about like who would I pick for like my team? Like, who would I throw in?
I probably would go in straight with that. I'd probably make a little bit more friendship first.
Well, of course.
But
like,
eventually, yeah.
Lead to that and just like see where her head's at. And if she's giving you nothing, like, you can choose to be like, yeah, like, would you want to protect each other or not? Like, I'm open to the idea because I think you're strong or whatever. Like, you could say anything to try.
I guess I've never really been intimidated by someone and not been able to make a friendship with somebody. So I don't actually understand what Michelle's hang up was. Like, you're stuck in a house with somebody, and there's times with alcohol and whatnot. Like, how can you not find some sort of common ground? Like, ask her about the 4 years that she spent becoming a veterinary. Like, that's interesting. Like, I don't know. It's just wild to me that she couldn't find something to relate with Laurel about.
Yeah.
And Willie is agreeing with us here. I think Michelle should have talked to Laurel and talk about their problems and have a good conversation. Yes, like, all these things could have been resolved by having a conversation. That's it. Instead of just allowing your mind to go wild like that.
Mm-hmm.
Poor Michelle, poor Michelle, poor Michelle. So we're at the daily, and it is the Royal Relay, and it reminded me a little bit of Big Brother Canada for the fact that it was like huge product placement. We see it more after the daily, but Burger King sponsored this episode. We'll say they're giving $5,000 to each of the winning teammates. Do you guys love Burger King? I really have not had Burger King I don't remember the last time.
Yeah, I must have not had it for 10 years. It's fine.
I still remember what it tastes like, though. And I don't even eat meat anymore. I still remember what it tastes like.
I think the only thing I've ever had, the only thing I can remember is the Whopper, which is like a fine burger, but nothing special.
Nah, the ones around me are like they're a little too sketchy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know where the nearest one would be. But anyways, Burger King sponsored this this daily. What did you guys think about this daily? So basically, what I liked about it personally was that each of the teammates have to do all of the activities. So not one person's strength was going to be able to carry the team through. They really did have to work together. And TJ says that it's going to take some serious speed and excellent communication, which is true. So they have to dive in, one pair, partner of the pair, and swim to a puzzle piece, bring it back. The other partner has to do the same thing, bring puzzle piece back. Then they have to row the boat out to another puzzle piece, and then the other teammate has to row to the next puzzle piece, and then they have to kind of solve a very easy crown.
Mm-hmm.
Decent. What do you guys think?
I liked this challenge. I agree with you that they had to do all the different parts. And yeah, no, I thought it's something that is usually part of a final. So I think it's a good skill. It's good to see who has the skills and who doesn't. I enjoyed this daily.
Yeah, I think it's a good daily too. The one thing I think maybe could have made it a little bit better would be if they somehow made it where instead of like us watching all 6 partners throughout the whole duration, if because it got to a point where it was down to like 2 or 3 couples, and then it's still showing like Nelson and Nerys in 6th place. It's like maybe like at the end of each part, like you eliminate the team that's in last, because like we don't really need to like prolong it. But I mean, overall, like that's just kind of like a minor criticism. Like could have maybe been a minute or 2 shorter, but I mean, overall, yeah, I like that. In order to win, both people in the pair have to do something or have to do everything.
Well, so when Nani says that she's trying to be a queen, did you think that her and Bananas were going to win this one?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think this was.
She wasn't being featured in the episode. I was like, she's not going to win this one. And I also felt like, I don't know, when it comes to rowing, Nani's not someone I would be like, yeah, she's going to be amazing at that. When I compare it to people like Laurel or
that probably go on like portages,
or like even Tori, you know what I mean? Like there's stronger women,
people that do pull-ups.
Yeah. I was getting vibes during the challenge, like, oh, this is going to be one of those where it's like, how did Jordan do this again? And he nearly did come back. I think he ended up finishing second.
Crazy. He really made up time.
When he had the confessional where it's like, I mean, I don't have a left hand. Like, I need to figure out how to do this. And it's like, it's coming to me. I was like, oh, he's going to come back and win, isn't he? And he like sped through it and like just barely lost to Jay and Michelle there. So I was getting those vibes, but I mean, Jay and Michelle did really well, obviously. Kim and Colleen did really well. And
what I wish though, so you kind of wanted to maybe have people not qualified to continue on, which I think would work and maybe help people be a little bit more quick because like they don't want to be last. And they wouldn't just be taking like the leisure route, like doing the backstroke in the wrong direction. Like they would be a little more focused on like going there and going there straight. But oh shit, I just forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, what I wanted was just give me the times. Like if we're watching like the Olympics or something, you see the times of everybody, each heat that where they're sitting. I want to see like 1 minute and 43 seconds and 62 milliseconds or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I would love to see all those stats up there and just like the stats kind of building up. That would just, for me, that just gives me satisfaction.
Yeah. Would you rather see that during or afterwards they show it?
I think both. So like after the first heat, I would love to see how they stack up like time-wise and like each heat after that. Or you could do it after heat 1, fine. But I meant like, you know, when you see like all the people that came in first for like out of the guy like the guys or whatever that went first, and then you'd see like where they ranked, and then you see all, you know, Tori goes in and she kind of passes a couple people, and so you can see how they kind of all stack up against each other. And then I don't know, I want to just be able to tell because I can't really see when people are swimming who's actually doing well. I want to see some numbers.
Yeah, that's the tough part. It's always hard to really like get a sense of who's doing well or what's the edit. Like, is the edit just making it look closer? I'd like to see that too. That's one thing I like about Big Brother, where they always show the times and anything like that. So I wish the challenge would do that too. And then people can't really like cry like production interference.
I mean, I guess they could put a different number up, but
yeah, but I mean, it's like then you get like the contestants saying, "No, this is bullshit."
Right. So yeah, no, I would love to see it, but we know that Olivia, we learned that she's a lifeguard. She's doing decently well in 3rd place for most of the time. But Bananas is definitely worried that Jay and Michelle are going to potentially win some power here and maybe retaliate from, you know, them throwing them in a couple episodes ago. I was impressed though that Anissa was able to build up some time and like get in 3rd place. So she wasn't, you know, an anchor in this particular challenge, which I thought was really great because we know that like Jordan is so good at so many things. And so it's nice to see that she's at least making the podium. Yeah. When Jordan though figured out how to row, I was like, this kid is amazing. Especially when you cut to Nani, who's been on the challenge for so long, not being able to figure out how to row.
Look, I'm like, I understand that it's kind of hard, but just try it in different ways. And you know, when you row, we have to go like down and through. And just if it's the wrong direction, then do the opposite direction of what you just tried. Like I was so confused as to why.
Think about the mechanics of what you're doing. There's an oar that has a flat end. The flat end is going to be pushing the water. So just like even thinking about like all I want to do is make sure that the flat end pushes the water at the same time as the other one. Like even just thinking about that, I would hope it would help them move a little bit. But Mariah and Nani really couldn't figure it out, which was really must have been frustrating for Bananas. But how do you feel, Michelle, about how Fessy handled Mariah in this situation?
Like, it's so performative to me. Like, he's like, yeah, and like, I don't want to get mad at her because like down the road, I need her to feel good. It's like, okay. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's an improvement.
Right.
But I like that wasn't a really tough situation for him to like, for me to like him to get really mad or anything like that. I'm glad that he didn't get so mad at her. Like that's, I guess, a step, but
guess what? It's probably because he wouldn't have been that good himself. He probably didn't know how well he would have done. So you can't get too mad at her because he doesn't know if he would have been able to excel. He's probably like, "Whoo, phew! She didn't leave here, so like I had to show my."
And I think his whole thing is like, as long as the failure can be blamed on somebody else, he's fine with it, because he's always going to get invited back, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think if he loses, if he can blame somebody else for the loss, it's okay in his books. It's not a real loss to him.
Absolutely. It wasn't his fault for sure.
Yeah, and I think Fessy also like didn't feel in danger. Like he saw Jay and Michelle won, probably felt safe with them. He saw Devin and Tori were winning there. It's like, okay, like we don't really need to win. I wonder if he felt in danger, if he would have been freaking out more at Mariah. And I would guess yes, very strongly. But I think he probably feels pretty safe right now. So,
I mean, he did blame his partner, but he also didn't have to show that he was any better. So,
yeah,
I really do think that's why he didn't go too hard on her, because, he didn't want to have to prove himself. So Nicole says off topic, but Olivia is always full cuteness at the dailies. It's true. Hair, makeup, earrings, impressive, impractical, but impressive. Yes, it is impractical, but impressive. Do we like this? Or I think it's great. It's just, it is Olivia. She's truly who she is.
I always like when someone like comes with like a new attitude onto the show. So not all of the characters need to be like so intense all the time. Like and she's still performing. So it's not like she's just like the like pretty girl that's like, is giving nothing. I mean, she's looks the part of the Love Islander, but she performs like a challenger.
Yeah, I do. I like it too. So Nicole says Fessy's instructions helped no one.
That's the thing.
He knew how to row. Yep.
He wasn't explaining it well. I don't know.
He's just like put the oar in the water. It's like she's doing that. But I don't think he knew how to help her at all. So Jay and Michelle win their first heat. They did kind of make it, because Jordan and Anissa, did they catch up almost? I think so.
I think Jordan and Anissa ended up coming in second.
Yeah, managed to row fast. Yeah, I thought that's also pretty impressive that Jordan with one hand is able to catch up and almost beat Jay and Michelle. And so the reason why I would want to see the times is I want to see if they were in another heat, if they would have would have been the winners of the other heat, is kind of what I want to see.
Yeah. And I got to say about Jordan, I mean, regardless of having one hand, I think at this point, like, it's probably safe to say he's the most impressive challenger in the history of the show.
Yeah.
And then you think about the fact that he has one hand, and it's just crazy to think of. But like, even like comparing him to like a CT, I honestly think like Jordan has CT beat in a lot of areas. So he like continues to amaze. And honestly, like love or hate Jordan, I think the show is much better with him on it.
I agree.
Yeah, I think it shows people to like, if he could do it, I could do it, or try harder, or like, I think it gives people motivation for sure.
Yeah,
he's so impressive. So Veronica, though, we see her going backwards, and Darrell is just screaming at her, and she's not hearing anything. And I was like, if Devin is critiquing your challenge ability, I was like, oh boy, you must not be doing well at all.
Yeah.
So we see Mariah, with all the rowing part, whatever. Colleen and Kim, apparently, who's saying that there was a halo around them when Kim was doing the rowing? He's good too.
Yeah.
He's so good. They should bring him back for sure. He's
100%.
definitely a contender for any of the males. Like,
oh, it's great. He's great.
He's pretty good, and he's tall. Like, yeah, watch out.
Confessional, pretty good. Like,
funny, lighthearted, has a personality. I definitely think he's someone they should bring back for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he's also one of the few LGBT members of this cast, and like in the challenge universe. Yeah, so I think he originated from like a German gay bachelor show. Yeah,
I didn't know. It was regular.
So yeah, I mean, it's like he fills all the boxes, and then like, yeah, I'd love to see both Kim and Colleen back. Although TJ didn't give them, though. We hope to see you soon. Which I was upset about.
Because he gave that one to Tommy and Annalise. Yeah. He had to not say it for them. I don't know.
Yeah, I was upset to see that. But yeah, I hope to see them both back. They both impressed me, like physically and confessional wise.
Mm-hmm.
So Willie, Laurel, as Nicole is reminding me, said it's like, were they born rowing? Did they come out of the womb rowing? Like I could just see this halo coming around the boat when Kim was rowing. So it was just a comment from Laurel. I was impressed by Devin and Tori. I was like, who knew that Devin was going to become a comp beast? Tori and Devin really killed this challenge, and I believe that they were the runner-up. They were almost going to win this one, but they couldn't take it from Michelle and Jay.
Yeah, I was impressed, and it gives me hope for them as a team in a final situation, depending on who ends up being there with them. Because at this point, there's so much up in the air that I can't fully say who I think is going to be in the end. And I think they would stand a good chance if they did make it there.
Nicole says it's Kim Swedish because I always hear Ace of Base when I see him. I miss him already. They're German, no? Both of them?
Yeah, they're both German. They just remind me of the Targaryens from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like I look at them and I think I'm
Like,
watching like House of Dragon.
Yeah.
I do as well. I think that's probably why they cast them.
Yeah.
And
but I miss them too. Nicole, really missed them already. I thought they were going to be around a lot longer, so quite upset.
This episode really didn't go the way that I thought it was going to go at all.
Yeah.
At all. Especially, well, it's same with Jack. So Jack is thrilled that his best guy friend Jay and Michelle won. And I was like, oh man, if they're showing how excited he is about this is going to be bad news. Bad news.
But I didn't think they were going to throw them in. Jeez. Sorry. Spoiler alert.
That's okay. That's okay. So they all deserve a feast, and they have a huge Burger King spread after the challenge. So that's what I was actually thinking. It felt like Big Brother Canada with this Burger King feast that they had to have all this product placement. I'm like, is MTV not doing that well? Like, I get scared when Burger King comes around. We don't have enough money.
Yeah. You gotta get it where you can get it, I guess.
But not enough people are watching ridiculousness these days.
Because it's on too much. It's boring. I mean, I watched a little bit of today because I was like, I had to make sure that I watched it. I wanted to watch it on MTV, so I was watching it from my computer. And so I had it on right beforehand, and Jordan Sparks was on it. And so she was telling a couple stories about her life that I thought were interesting. So that was it. That was good. But the show itself, not good. It's not good.
No.
I mean, I don't know who is greenlighting 20 seasons of ridiculousness.
Yeah, you got so many good shows you could just show replays of. Just put on like The Real World, The Challenge, put on Punk'd, any of those old school shows, Pimp My Ride, Cribs. You got all this good content.
Cribs did come on after the episode, so that's still a thing.
Nice.
And there was a preview for Love and Hip Hop Reunion that I'm like, this looks good. I really want to watch this. So I might watch Love and Hip Hop Reunion, and maybe I'll cover it as well because it looked really, really fun. So Chauncey hopes that Jay makes the big move that he's been talking about making. And that's what we wanted, right? That's what you were saying, Matthew, that like, okay, we want Jay and Michelle to win power because we know they're going to make a big move. You know that they don't care. They don't give any Fs. Like, they're just going to do it. They're going to throw 4 bet teams in and not give any Fs. And I was scared for the bets. I was scared for them. I was like, ooh, this is risky.
I was scared for them, but I was ready for the drama, and I was ready to see maybe a Benani versus, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, it's going to be a crazy elimination. Like, let's see what goes down.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. My initial thought was like, okay, they're going to throw in the vets. This is going to, like, they're going to have to scramble. And then I started thinking, okay, who are they going to throw in? And like, what could possibly happen next? I'm thinking about it during the commercial break. And it's like, the one team I'm worried about here is Darrell and Veronica. Maybe they
Yes.
are the team that replaces the rookies in there, and then all the vets that are in just decide, you know what, like, let's go in against Darrell and Veronica. The rest of us will make a pact. I was like, oh, are we going to lose Darrell and Veronica this early? And then, and that was my kind of initial worry there. And I did not foresee it going way worse than that fear. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess we'll get to that very shortly, but was quite surprised.
Well, starting with the deliberation, you know, they're talking about Jack and Laurel and Anissa and Jordan being options, and I'm just like, wow, like you're really going to put like if Michelle is so scared of Laurel, like I just don't understand, Jay, how you could let Michelle do this for your friendship, because like it was just
He
so
said
bad.
himself, he was like, Jack's never going to throw me in. And they used that as a reason to be like, well, they won't be as mad. And it's like, this was such a terrible idea. What they should have done is been like, okay, who has definitely voted against us in previous seasons that we can use as the reason? Anissa and Jordan. Okay, check. Bananas and Nani, obviously they just did that. That's an easy one. Okay. And then like, I'm sure there's other people that have voted against them before. Probably Tori and Devin or something else. Okay, throw that. And then like, okay, maybe do the Jarrell Veronica if you're unsure, but like also maybe make a deal with them. And then throw another team in. And then you can say, hey, at some point you have gone against me in the game. So like, I don't know what our trust level is, and use a real reason. But with Laurel's never gone against her. She decided based on Laurel's energy that they didn't have a friendship or whatever. And it's like, Jack was never going to throw Jay in. You saw their friendship. And Laurel's never gone against you before. When you have other people,
and they're not winning power, like what Laurel
exactly
said at the end.
But like you have people who've won power who have actively gone against you already. It's so
That's
much
supposed
easier.
to be your close friend. Yes,
exactly. It's so much, and you cried, and she never promised she wouldn't do it again.
No, she didn't. And
so
she
like,
didn't, she wasn't that sorry about it.
She wasn't like, what are you doing? Like, it's absurd to me.
So to Natalie's point there, I was just about to say as well. I mean, it seems so easy. You put in Bananas and Nani. That's the target. Nani has Casey. Put in Casey and Kenny. And then you put in Jordan and Anissa, Tori and Devin. Those are the four teams that are in charge.
Yeah.
I know, but that would have been like
well, Tori and Anissa are never going against each other.
Mm-hmm.
Nani and Casey are never going against each other. Put all four of them in. Whoever pulls the safe, they're going to save the other one. I mean,
and they're going to have like friends and lovers going against each other no matter what.
So you get Bananas and Nani in. As long as Casey and Kenny don't pull the safe sword, you're putting Kenny and Casey against Bananas and Nani. Either Bananas and Nani go home, or their literal number one that they will never turn on goes home. It's so easy. And then worst case scenario, you break up Anissa and Tori.
Exactly.
It's a win-win.
And it's a win-win. And everyone's going to be like, ooh, it's so bold, and be mad at you for sure. But they have to respect that it's a bold move. And also, then all the rookies are on your side.
Yes.
You've got Jarrell and Veronica on your side. You've got all Laurel and Jack still on your side. And at least you're getting one out of the four gone. That's breaking up, as you said, that core part of the alliance. And at this point, like, Bananas and Nani already expected to go in.
Absolutely.
And you use the excuse, okay, Casey, you're the closest to her, so I knew you're obviously going to go on her side. Easy. Like, oh my God, it could have been so crazy epic for them. And they could have made a bold, crazy move, but they could have had reasonings behind it that made sense. They could have stood by their idea, and they would have had people that respected them and people that were mad. But now they just have everybody either not respecting them or they're actually mad. Like, or
no one is like, yes, them and they're mad.
even Olivia was like, they kind of dropped the ball, and Olivia didn't get voted in for the first time, but she was just like they didn't make a good move. Like, nobody's respecting your game right now.
So, and then that means the rookies are not going to trust them either. And it's just like, they're not like, if now Olivia wins some power, she's not going to necessarily protect Jay. Like she will more likely, but if she needs someone to throw in, like she needs a fourth person, you know, I don't really trust their gameplay here. Like, let's just throw them in. They're kind of dropping the ball. I don't know what they're going to do, and they're not really helping my game here, especially with having Colleen and Kim being part of the equation. There are still people that they could have thrown in there other than Colleen and Kim that would have still broken up a little bit of like the Vets Alliance. Like, I mean, I guess they're aligned with Amber and Chauncey, but why weren't they part of the conversation, you know?
Yeah, when Jay and Michelle were in the deliberation and they brought up Colleen and Kim,
I was like,
I had to rewind because I thought at first I thought it was like I was hearing things, and then I was like, okay, wait, did they bring up the name and then one of Jay or Michelle turned it down, like said no, like we're not going to put them in, and that's what I thought was happening, and then it moved forward, and it's like, okay, so these 3 teams are going in. Now we have to decide between Bananas and Nany or Veronica and Darrell. And I was thinking, wait, who's the 3rd team? And it's like, oh shit, they're really putting in Colleen and Kim. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
I don't know. I'm shocked. I was shocked because they left this that little deliberation on a cliffhanger where Jay was like, you know, Michelle, you choose, like whatever you decide, and she's trying to go between her heart and her head, and it's like, was that her heart? Is it her heart that led her to do this terrible decision? Because like, she needs to follow her head for sure.
And also, what have Casey and Kenny spoken this season since they returned from COVID? Like they had their confessionals when they came back. I don't recall hearing from either of them at all the last 2-3 episodes.
I'm surprised every time I see them at the Daily.
Yeah.
Well, Kenny for sure, because like I'm like, oh yeah, who's that again? Like I just like forget, I don't know that face. So like when I see him, I'm like, and I don't know his voice. I don't know anything about him. So yeah, I don't think he had a confessional this episode.
They haven't even highlighted Nany and Casey at all. It's been a non-story this entire season.
A non-story.
Yeah.
So Jack is glad that Jay showed him who he truly is. And that's not what you want people to think about the moves that you make. You don't want to be like, okay, we know you're a snake now. And Jay gets so upset for the fact that like, you know, he's targeted all the time and that like he doesn't trust Bananas because Bananas is always going to throw him in. It's because he makes these slimy moves and he, for no actual reason, or he doesn't let people really know that these are the reasons that he's going to do. And he's like, oh, it's just a game. It's just a game. But people don't want to play with him. It's for reasons like this, for the fact that he snaked his really good friend in this way. And yeah, I don't think he's ever going to be able to win the challenge. I don't think so.
No.
I don't think it's possible for him. So the interrogations. Oh, this was the most painful interrogations I've ever seen on the show. Like Darrell and Veronica come in and it's like, we're just in awe that you didn't throw in Bananas and Nany, who threw you in already. And Michelle's just like, and
then like, she's like, well, I want to keep numbers. And it's like, okay, so you're literally saying now that you're working with that. Like, that makes no sense. None of it. And she's just like, who are you trying to break up here? It's like, you have a rookie team. You have us who have nobody, who are the newest in. Then Anissa and Jordan, who are the next newest in. Like, what? It makes no sense. None of those people are even, she's like, you don't even know who out of these people is even working together. So like, I don't see the move here. She's just like, where's the strategy?
So Willie's saying that Jay letting his partner take control isn't good. He let Teresa take control in season 36.
Yeah.
And he was out next week.
He needs to have more confidence in his own ability to like follow his gut. Cause he did have that moment where he's like, no, I'm really close with Jack. Like he should have been like, nah, he's not going to go against us. Let's not go down that road. Okay, next. You know what? Honestly, I don't trust Bananas and blah, blah, blah. And especially if you've got Michelle being like, we have to put in Laurel's team, then Jay's going to be like, okay, fine. He should have said, okay, fine. You don't trust Laurel. I don't trust Bananas. If you get to pick one, I get to pick one.
Absolutely.
Cool. So both those teams are going in. Great. Now let's pick the other two. And like, we're already putting two.
And then what could have happened would should be like, okay, look, that we don't do either of those scenes, which would have been also
yeah.
but at least then maybe they could have put in the Kenny and whatever, put in, you still could do Anissa and Jordan, I don't care. Still could do Darrell and Veronica, and do, who is the fourth team, and Devin and Tori. You could still have put it all vet
You just
team.
could have like made a choice.
Yeah, definitely. So they even say though that went terribly. They're
they knew.
They're all going to be terrible.
they did know. To be fair, like it was very clear that they were like, "Oh fuck!" Like, and that's what made it worse. Like they couldn't stand behind their decision, and they've been waiting so long to like get power. Like Michelle always gets screwed over. Jay gets screwed a lot. It's like they just want to get power, and then they get it, and they freak out. They make a stupid last moment decision. He usually lets his partner make the choice, and then it blows up in their face. He should have learned from his experience with Teresa. He should have learned from that and been like, okay, I'm not going to let my partner make the decision, especially if they are a little bit unsure, which she was unsure. He should have been like, okay, no. I know who I need to keep, and I need to keep the people who I know are not going to throw me in. If I break that bond...
Though, that Jade doesn't necessarily have better judgment. So
no, not necessarily, but maybe I think for this decision, if he had gone with his gut, it would have been a slightly better outcome than what she did. Slightly, maybe.
It's also like if let's say Jay just wanted to appease Michelle, and it's like, okay, Michelle wants Laurel gone, fine. Now, who are we gonna put in that is able to beat Laurel and Jack in an elimination? Most eliminations, I would take Laurel and Jack over Kim and Colleen. I would take them over Darrell and Veronica in most eliminations. And honestly, probably over Jordan and Anissa in a lot of eliminations. As good as Jordan is, Anissa is good at physical eliminations, but Laurel is the best at physical eliminations. And then anything non-physical, it's more of a toss-up. And then like puzzles, Anissa's great at, Jordan's great at. Maybe there's a bit of an edge there, but at least it's close. But if you're trying to get rid of Laurel, get rid of Laurel. Don't put in Darrell and Veronica, who are, let's be frank, past their prime. And then a rookie pair. It's just not the way to go. You make the least optimal move in terms of your social standing, and then also to get the threat out.
So did you hear Michelle's voice? Like it was quivering when she's speaking to Kim and Colleen, because they also don't even like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, and Michelle's just like I thought that she was holding back tears when she was talking to Kim and Colleen. And then Anissa, go ahead.
I think at that point, Michelle just realized like, yeah, we fucked up here. And she was probably embarrassed. Because I think it was Colleen said, like, well, I mean, it is what it is, I guess. Like, I have nothing to say. Like, I mean, you made your bed.
Such a bad move. Anissa and Jordan, and just was like not understanding the move, and they're not explaining it very well. If she wanted to explain it, just be like, listen, Nani's a really good friend of mine. I couldn't put her in. I just didn't want to. I'm sorry that I had to make other arrangements, but I just didn't want to put in my friend. People would have been like, okay, shitty move, but at least understood it. But like trying to make it seem like it was strategic was probably their downfall here. If she just said that, like, I really, like, that would have been actually really great. If she's like, I really didn't want to put in my friend. I want to be working with that team. Like, and it gets back to Bananas and Nani. That would be also good for them to be like, okay, this is the reason, like, why is because you really want to work with us, and you would never be putting us in the future. I think that would have been better, but still try to make it seem like it was strategic. Like, when you clearly said that you were playing with your heart. I think that was also poor decision making on their part. Mm-hmm. So the cringe moment of the century, face crack moment, record scratching. Like I was watching and I was cringing when Laurel and Jack are just in there, and Laurel is shooting daggers from her eyes. And I think she must have coached Jack to be like, don't say a word. And Michelle's just like stumbling over her words and not being able to say anything. And she's like, really just wants to be engaging in some sort of conversation. Laurel's just like, well, Michelle's like, so wait, you're just like, you're not going to talk? And she's just like, do you have a question? I was like, oh my God. Michelle was like this big and she crawled underneath her chair and cried.
It's
Like-
just like, yeah, she became just the like, little sad one there. It was really sad and embarrassing to witness because I know she can be better than that. I've seen her have better moments maybe, but like she just crumbled under the presence of Laurel. And like, I'm not saying Laurel was being nice.
No,
she was
I mean,
not.
this is her tactic for sure.
This is her tactic. Everyone, like Anissa has her tactics. She has her tactics. Like everyone has their tactics. And the thing is that Laurel can back up her tactics. And she couldn't even, like, the way she was staring at her, I actually was like, oh, I am gonna die. This is insane. And like, you have time after you win the daily to have any kind of conversation with anybody who's still in the house. You make sure whoever you're gonna throw in, like, you need to like quickly talk with your partner already and have some conversations with people. Okay, we don't want to throw in Laurel. I'm nervous. Okay, let's have a conversation with them. Talk with them. Hey, we're just trying to figure things out. Me and you. Hey, we never really talk. You know, like at least right before, like have any kind of like semblance of a attempt. Yeah, it was hard to watch.
I mean, I had to watch that. It was a good moment. Like that
It was
is
good though. Yeah,
a reality TV moment that producers are not going to be able to recreate. You know, like it was so potent in like dynamics. And like I guess like I'm not somebody that backs down. So like if she's giving me that energy, I would be giving her that energy right back. You know what I mean? And so the fact that Michelle wasn't, I was like, oh my God, this crumble, like you're losing the standoff here. Like poor Michelle. But she concludes after that they may have made the wrong decision.
Yeah, no kidding.
So we see Michelle talking to Jay to Bananas, basically saying like, we have your back. And like you said before, Michelle, like conversation that should have been had before this decision was made. But I mean, I don't think that Banana and Nani's are threatened by Jay and Michelle, but I think if they need to throw somebody in, they're not going to care.
Yeah.
At all. But Bananas is just going to butter his balls, I think he said. Butter his balls, and he's a don't show me but tell me type person, and so he says that this showed him something. So we'll see if that plays true in the coming episodes, if that's going to keep them from being in elimination.
It's honestly baffling that like Bananas can come into this game and be so safe and like so protected by all these different people that he has history with. I mean, it seems like everyone just wants to work with him. And it's like, honestly, like pretty amazing that someone with his reputation and like his wins can just come in, and he hasn't even been in the bottom 4 yet in 4 or 5 weeks. It's wild to me. That's like nobody is taking that shot. And I don't really see it happening anytime in the immediate future either.
So Burks is agreeing with us here. It was so easy. Torin, Devin, Bananas, and Nani, Georgia, and Anissa, Kenny, and Casey would have set them up for success. Like,
because they don't have an alliance. You don't have alliance with them, and you know they're working together. Why wouldn't you do that?
And you make them turn on each other too, which opens up the game for everyone else. It's like the Ambers and Nelsons of the world are going to gain so much power just from making the vets turn on each other. So you're really helping every single person in the game. Whereas now, like those 4 pairs you win one, and now Laurel's going to be with them for sure. Fessy's still with them, so they have all these numbers, and like they're bound to win a couple dailies. So if they win one daily, they take a shot at your numbers, and you didn't get ahead of the game there. You just increase their odds.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. But I think Jack could be a good addition to the challenge because of the fact that he's pissed, but he's still playing nice with Jay with the hopes that they don't become the target. He's still like buddy with them, even though he's seething inside. And then after Jack and Laurel have a conversation where he's just like, when people wrong me, like, I never forget. And Laurel's like, I never forget either. And so the fact that they're both pretty vindictive, I think it's going to make for good TV later.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that they're going to be able to iron that over. And even if they do, you know that it's going to come back. Maybe it's in a future season. Who knows? But they're going to get the repercussions of this move eventually, which will be exciting to wait for sure. What was I going to say? So Michelle and Anissa are talking in the hallway. And Anissa's also trying to be really diplomatic here. She does not want to be the team that is picked to go down directly. That she wants to have obviously the shot of pulling the safe dagger. And so like I can see the Anissa was working hard of being like diplomatic about this. But she was doing, I thought, a good job with like at least making it seem like, well, I'm not going to be mad at you. We're still going to be cool. We're still going to be friends. Like, you know, make the best decision for your game and keep me out of there. That's basically what she was saying. Then cringe moment of this episode number 2 was Michelle put on her big girl pants and goes over to have a conversation with Laurel. And it was awkward. And it was definitely way too late. This should have been happening from day one, but it should have been happening before you threw them in. And definitely it should have been happening before the interrogation. And it should have happened sooner than even right now. The fact that you didn't do this already, Michelle,
Terrible.
Really disappointed.
She asked her, "Where's your head at?" And Laurel said, "Well, my head is going into the elimination. Like, what do you want me to say?" Yeah, I love that. Just clock her. Like, don't give her anything. What do you owe her at this point? Like,
yeah, like she just wants to make her feel better about her decision. Like, and Laurel is not going to give you that.
No,
at all.
Yeah, and then their response is that to then throw them in. Like, that's your response from her reacting this way. Like, I get it. You're saying, okay, she's so mad anyway. You might as well. But it's like,
you didn't put the right people in the draw.
And you knew they said it themselves. Remember that there's a clip when Jay's talking to Jack, and he's like, "Oh, I know that Laurel will win no matter what."
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So what?
And then, you know, Michelle just storms off. Like, I feel like I'm wasting my breath, and she's just like, "It's too late. It's too late." I just wrote, "This was so brutal." Like, oh, poor Michelle. I still love Michelle, but this was a really bad episode for her as a strategic gamer. And I think she'll get a call back because this was a very deliciously messy episode.
Oh yeah. I mean, in terms of a callback, like if you're gonna be sloppy like this and make sometimes bad moves are what get you back. So I'd be shocked if Michelle and Jay both are not back at this point.
So we do hear in a confessional that Darrell thinks that Veronica's very low maintenance with her talking strategy in the game, and she's shocked. I was shocked as like she's pretty strategic and she's always thinking game, but maybe she thinks more than she actually shares with people or makes bad moves. Like I guess she's a little more precise in her gaming. Like she's very clear, I suppose. So I was thinking at this point that Veronica was going to be pulling the safe dagger for sure. From how they were setting this up, I was like, oh my God, is she going to pull the safe dagger? And are they going to be throwing in Anissa and Darrell in against Laurel and Jack? I was like, that also would be seriously epic. And I really thought that was the direction that this episode was going. And I'd be like, wild. I don't know if it would be the best move, but I wanted it to happen.
That would have really saved Michelle and Jay if they were to do that. Because at least then, like, even if Laurel comes back, like, and a big threat is going, and I was really excited about that potential as well. I mean, as much as I like these vet pairs, like I like to see them get broken
Right.
up as well.
Absolutely.
Um,
I don't want them to
so
coast at all.
yeah, when Veronica and Darrell were talking about that, it's like maybe we should just work with Kim and Colleen. Like we're both gonna get thrown in every time, so might as well make a deal. Like take out these people that are gonna be throwing us in. I'm like, yes, Veronica. Like this is what you do. This is what you've always done. Like keep doing it. The only problem was when it flipped to the commercial before the decision. I was like, you know what? They're gonna go back on this.
No, exactly. Like they have the lead up for us to not get that, because they would have allowed it to go all the way through if that was what was happening. So,
and I do like what she did. She made good TV. She also made it clear that like she's still an open player, or that she's gonna help her friends. So all the other people that she's friendly with in the house are gonna think, okay, if I'm on her good side, like she's gonna save me. She's more likely
and
to
also
save me.
making it clear, like I think that it's going to allow people to come up to her and be like, hey, like, because it seems like what she was saying in that whole speech at the safe draw was like, hey, like I want people to come up and show me that they're loyal to me. Tell me that we're doing something together. I need to know definitively, and I protect my friends. I protect the people that I'm working with. And so if she's going to be thrown down all the time, that could allow the rookies to be like, hey, let's make nice with them, because they could pull the safe card again, and maybe I want her to be picking me. So I think it was also to send a message to the other rookies as to how she plays the game. I think she did.
It was a good moment.
So down at the zone, I was shocked. Like, not shocked, but like I really couldn't believe that they went through with Laurel and Jack. Like I thought that this was going to happen. I thought that they were going, like I wasn't sure how it was going to happen, but I felt that they were going to be going in somehow. But the fact that they really did do it after Michelle was just, I was just like,
Who did you think was going to get voted in at that point?
I thought that they were going to buckle, since they already buckled, right? I thought that they were going to try to save face and make nice, and throw in Kim and Colleen, and then leave the other people and be like, well, we didn't make you guys the target, so like to try to save face. So that's what I kind of thought that they were going to end up doing, because they were just so wimpy in all their decisions.
Same.
But I was shocked that they put them in, just for the fact that they were just waffling back and forth with their decisions so much that I didn't think that they were going to follow through. But they did.
You got to have a really strong backbone to be on the challenge. Like, I understand it would probably be really difficult, and I would be horrible at it in a lot of ways, but like you have to stand your ground, especially if you're going to have longevity as well. I mean, they're going to have longevity as characters on the show, I suppose, but if you want to have a bigger chance to win, you need to show the kind of
player that you are,
loyalty, and you need to like, if you're going to be crazy, make crazy moves like Westwood, then you really need to go for it.
But like on all ends.
Yeah.
Like you can't do part of it, right? Like, whoa, like Laurel and Jack are being thrown in. Okay, ballsy. But like you didn't put them necessarily with somebody that they wouldn't be able to beat. They need to put a stronger team down into the draw with them. So in the zone, we hear Jack being like, I'm not a rat piece of garbage who put me in. When TJ asked him how he was feeling, I was like, yikes. I don't know if that friendship is mendable. Not sure. So we learned, though, that Veronica and Darrell do pull the safe card. And after the cliffhanger, we thought that they might be throwing in Anissa and Jordan, but in the end, they do save them. So I'm happy, though. I just don't want their friendship to be ruined by this particular moment. They're not far enough into the game for like a move like that to happen. I don't like, if it's a friendship ruining move, it has to be a lot closer to the final. So I think that that's also probably why like Veronica's like, I'm not going to burn this bridge yet, but I think she's willing to. I think that she would in the end.
Oh, so, Veronica will cut anyone if she has to, which is why I love her so much.
Me too. So give me some slack. Is this elimination where they had to kind of match colors and symbols? So one player on one side had like the giant puzzle pieces with symbols that colors on them, and then the other partner had the smaller version where they had to recreate and rebuild it. And when one partner goes up, it's a pulley system, the other one will go down, and vice versa. So I thought this was a decent elimination challenge. What do you guys think?
I liked it, actually. It
Mhm.
required a lot of communication and some coordination and stuff like that, and I was very worried for Laurel and Jack at first, but then I was like, nah, she's going to figure it out. And it seemed like Kim and Colleen, I'm surprised they did as well as they did, actually, because I was like, I don't think that he understands what she's saying.
Somebody was saying that why didn't they speak German when they were doing this? Do you think that they probably weren't allowed to, or they didn't want to have them subtitled, or wouldn't there have been a better way to communicate, maybe?
Yeah, you would think. Maybe they weren't allowed to just for the show purposes. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We haven't really heard them speak German at all throughout the show to this point. I'm trying to remember, in any past seasons, have we heard people speak in there with foreign languages? I think Nam, who was he talking with? I think that was it, but I don't know ever like during a challenge. Maybe there are rules about it, but yeah, but they did do well. I mean, they were only off by one piece at the end, so.
So, what do you think of Kim's strategy of putting all the pieces on the board and then placing them after Colleen told him where they were going?
Like pulling them off right away, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a good move. Except for when he's got, I don't know. I thought it was a good move.
I thought it was going to be a winning move. I thought having them all there and so he could be quick at the end. I was worried for Laurel because at this point I wanted, even as much as I love Colleen and Kim, I really wanted, I need to have Laurel come back with the vitriol and the daggers and have to face Michelle. Like, I just need that. So I'm sorry, Colleen and Kim. I was not rooting for you here. But I was like, oh my God, the commercial break when Kim does a check. I was like, no, if it was going to go this way, they would not have done a commercial break. So we know that he doesn't get this particular check. And Laurel did a check right away as well, but then her pieces fell. And I think it was Tori calls it out. And she's like, you know, you're a vet, because as soon as she messed that up, she was just like immediately to Jack, like, we're going through it again. Like, tell me each of them going in order. Tell me what they are. And just went back to the drawing board instead of trying to figure out what the wrong piece was or the ones that were all messed up. So I thought that was risky, but I thought it was smart in the end.
Yeah, I thought it was risky, but I was like, she'll be correct. So.
Because you'll know that you're right this time instead of like being like, is it this one that's wrong?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, like with Kim and Colleen, like even though they only had one piece wrong, like to start, like they didn't know that they only had one piece wrong. So, and they also don't know what piece it is. So it's like because they're rookies, they're not really thinking all the steps through. They're just like, okay, like we need to find out which piece is wrong. Let me flip this one piece. I think it could be this one. Whereas Laurel and Jack are like, okay, we have all the pieces in front of us. Let's just go through it. We'll figure this out. It might take an extra minute. But like super smart. Like that's where the vet in Laurel comes into play. And I agree. I mean, I'm glad ultimately that they won, because if someone takes a shot and misses, you want to see the aftermath of that. Or if somebody when someone makes a bad move, you want to see what happens afterwards. Mm-hmm. Kim and Colleen would come back in, like they'd be fine. They'd be friendly with everyone. It wouldn't be as exciting. But like Laurel's going to come back in the very start of next episode. She's going to be heated, and we'll get to see that. So that's definitely happy as well there, even though I do want to see some vets go soon.
Mary, yes, we probably will do a wish. We'll do a Christmas wish list. Angel, Kik, and I. That'd be fun. So in the end, Laurel and Jack do get the win before Kim and Colleen figure out what that wrong piece was. I was thrilled. Laurel was thrilled. Jack was like, get me down here so I can hug my partner. And the funniest line that he said was, your screaming voice is so comforting to me. And I love that, because some people think that she's super mean, but like, he's probably like, she's just so direct and it's so clear.
Exactly.
And it's like, it's no bullshit. It's just like, fucking give me that right piece, you know? And he's just like, okay, I can focus. So I love that he appreciates some of the intensity of Laurel. And I think it also really helps their dynamic. And so I think that this is a really good elimination win for them, to see that they're capable of being a top performing team. And I really hope that they learn more skills to be able to excel in the dailies coming up.
Agreed.
I want them in some power. I want Michelle to be freaking out.
Yeah, I want it. I need it.
Please, please, please. So Fessy lost his cuddle buddy. What do you think, Michelle? Are you sad?
I mean, it takes him 0.2 seconds to go on to the next.
That's true. He
So,
never.
no.
Well, yeah.
Like,
He's always someone new.
It's not a real showmance.
It's true. That is true. So as we talked about earlier on this little recap, we do have Michelle saying on 1 to 10, her performance level was about a 2. We have all agreed that it was less than a 2, but because she won the daily, we can bump her up and say the 2 is valid. But this was a poor showing. Probably one of the worst showings of power that I've seen in a while. I can't think of anything that was worse yet right now.
Yeah, it was really bad. I mean, there's no like worse way to put it, no better way to put it. But I think moving forward, what I'm really kind of liking about this season is I have no idea who's gonna win.
Nope.
It's like really feels like almost any team here can win based on the way things are set up, like with the format of the twists. Like you would think, like looking at it, like Bananas and Nani, like they're in a good position, but it feels like we're not seeing as much of them as we normally would see, which is kind of weird considering Bananas has been gone a couple seasons. You would think they'd be like shoving him down our throats, and maybe they will as the season goes on, but I've been a little surprised with the lack of Bananas on the screen. I don't know if the two of you have felt the same, but
I mean, I think they're probably listening to the like some of the fans being like, we don't want it to be a banana season. And so I think that they are highlighting the other players so that they can allow Bananas to come back again and again, and people not being completely sick of him. Cause like, I'm not sick of him at all. He's not really part of this season for me right now. And I'm happy that he's here. I'm fine that he's here, but it's not his show. And so I think that that's probably why they're choosing not to highlight that much about him, is just to kind of appease all of us that don't necessarily want him to be controlling this entire thing. That's my thoughts.
Agreed.
Yeah. And one other thing I wanted to say was I think the events of this episode bode really well for Olivia and Horacio. Now that the other rookie pair is gone, I think the vets just have to take shots at each other. And at this point, I think Olivia and Horacio will not be the target. They may be used as a weapon to take out a threat.
But they will be in the draw, but not the target. Yeah. Yeah.
So I actually think, and this is kind of like what we've been saying all along. It's just like when you're a rookie team, you just got to survive a few weeks. Like if you're the last rookie pair, you tend to go pretty far, because then like once the shots have to be taken at the vets, you don't take the shot using a vet as a pawn. Like you take the shot directly. And moving forward, that's what we're going to be seeing, at least for the next few weeks. And then maybe down the road, Olivia and Horacio are seen as a massive threat to win, and they become more of a target. But I think at least for the next like 2-3 weeks, they will be mostly safe, which I'm happy about as well. I'm liking them both.
I agree with you. Last thing, though, that Michelle says, that she's like, I sent a number home, and she's like, this wasn't fun. I didn't do well, and I wouldn't like to do it again. Those are definitely closing statements here. Was there anything else about this episode that either of you wanted to talk about? So we got no fight points, really. I get we got some passive aggressive energy points. Do you have any fight points too, Laurel, or no?
I gave a fight for her kind of fight with Michelle later on. It was a kind of a cringe fest, but it was kind of a fight.
I'll take that as a fight for sure.
And MVP has to be Laurel.
Yeah, MVP is Hundo Laurel.
Yeah.
MVP is Laurel.
This was like an Emmy award winning episode for her, as I said, and I'm just obsessed with her energy. But I'm gonna be mad at her next week. I know this. I'm gonna be mad at her.
Fine. That's
Popping into bed with Fessy.
Yeah, I knew it was coming. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's fine. It is what it is, but I'm not happy with her for that choice. But like,
she's always
go for it. And if Horacio's not, you know what I mean? Like, making things clear with her, then she's got to move forward with someone else. She knows what to do to make someone jealous.
Exactly. So
do you think Jay and Michelle will be out next?
Yes, I think there's a high probability. High probability.
I don't think that they can save themselves from everybody.
I don't think that there is a team right now who wouldn't put them in, actually.
I think Amber and Chauncey
Amber and Chauncey.
Fair.
Are the only team right now that I can say for sure wouldn't put them in. So they did not set themselves up for success for this coming week.
Woof.
The one thing maybe in their favor is it looks like from the preview the next episode is like another water-based challenge. So if it's more swimming, they could do well again. But again, I mean, there's how many teams left? 11 teams left. It's like, even if we say it's a 1 in 7 shot instead of 1 in 11, it's still pretty unlikely they win back to back. But there is a chance.
There's a chance.
And they can win the elimination.
Like, I would like to see them win again. Like that, like, because they don't make good decisions. So let's see what they do this time around. So
yeah,
I'll give them a second shot to redeem themselves because they know what they should have done now. So let's see if they do it. Well, that is pretty much it for this episode. It was a good one to talk about. I enjoyed it immensely. The challenge is so great. Like, I don't know. I always really enjoy the challenge, but this season is going in a way that I thought it was going to be more predictable, and it really hasn't been. So I'm happy so far. I'm happy to talk about it with you guys and everybody here in the chat. Do you guys have anything going on that you want to plug, or should we just say goodbye?
Nothing for me to plug. But do you think we'll see Kim and or Colleen again?
Yeah. Colleen more than Kim, but
I hope both.
I hope both, but I think we're not going to see either of them again.
Either. Okay. Yeah. I could also see that happening as well, but I think Colleen has more of a shot just because cute girl confessionals. Like, I think that she has more of a shot. I just can see Kim not caring that much and having other things to do. So we'll see what happens. Well, thank you both for being here with me to talk about this episode. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to this channel, like this video. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. And let us know how bad of a decision did Michelle and Jay make. I just want to hear everybody rant about how terrible this move was. So we can continue to talk about it in the comments for eternity. All right, guys, we'll see you soon next week. Bye.